Good afternoon to all of you. So our topic for today is about probability. So probability in the study of statistics, we are concerned basically with the presentation and interpretation of chance outcomes that occur in a planned study or a scientific investigation. And also, probability is a numerical description of how likely an event is to occur or how likely it is that a proposition is true. And also, probability is the number of ways of achieving success and the total number of possible outcomes. And for us to be able to get the possible outcomes, we need to conduct a scientific investigation or just simply an experiment for us to be able to get all possible outcomes or all elements that we need in getting the probability of event. Now, let me present to you what experiment is. So, an experiment is the process by which an observation or measurement is obtained. By conducting an experiment, we can identify the set of all possible outcomes in that particular experiment. And that possible outcomes will help us to identify the probability of an event. Now we have here a sample space. The sample space is the set of possible outcomes of a statistical experiment, which is what we call sample space, which is represented by the symbol S. Each outcome in a sample space is called an element or a member of the sample space or simply a sample point. This sample space is the result of having or conducting an experiment, and by which in the a portion of this sample space is what we call element that we can use for us to be able to get its event. Now, let us proceed to a sample for you to understand it clearly on how we are going to get the sample space and for us to be able to get the probability of an event. Let's say, for example, we have here in selecting a student. If we talk about a gender of a student and you need to select one, you can select it's either male or female. So meaning to say, in selecting a student, we have two outcomes. Okay, and another example is in taking examination. In taking examination, there is a possibility that you pass the examination or you are failed in that examination. So mean to say, the sample space or the possible outcomes in taking examination is pass or fail. Another example that we have is in tossing a coin twice. We have first toss and we have second toss. In this case, we are identifying or we are determining how many number of outcomes that we can get in tossing a coin twice. So in this case, it is possible that in our first toss, head appear, second toss, head appear. But it is possible also that in first toss, tail appear, and in second toss, tail appear. And there is a possibility that in the first toss, head appear, and in second toss, tail appear. And also, there is a possibility that tail appear in the first toss and the second toss, head appear. So in tossing a coin twice, we have four outcomes, which is head head, tail tail, head tail, and tail head. Okay, another example is in tossing a pair of dice. In tossing a pair of dice, so we all know that a die is composed of six faces. And each faces has different number of points. We have 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, and 6 points. We are identifying here the total number of outcomes that we can get in tossing a pair of die. Now, in this case, there is a possibility that in first toss, 1 point appear. And in second toss, there's a possibility that 1 point appear. So in this case, we have first pair of number, which is 1 and 1. But there is a possibility also that in the first toss, 3 points appear, and in second toss, 5 points appear. So we have another set of numbers, which is 3 and 5. But there is also a possibility that in our first toss, 6 points appear, and in second toss, 2 points appear. So we have another set of number, which is 6 and 2. But we are identifying the set of all possible outcomes. How many number of outcomes can we get in tossing a pair of dice? So we have here a 36 outcomes. Let's say, for example, we have here 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, up to 6, and 6. So mean to say, the 36 outcomes that we can get in tossing a pair of dice is or are 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, hanggang 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, and 6, 6. But in getting the total number of possible outcomes or a sample space, we have a different way for us to be able to get its value by using the tree diagram. In some experiment, it is helpful to list the element of the sample space systematically by means of a tree diagram. So I mean to say, tree is composed of branches. We are using branches to connect one element to another element. As an example, we have here, suppose that 3 cell phones are tested at random from a manufacturing process. Each item is inspected and classified defective or non-defective. List the elements of the sample space by constructing a tree diagram. So, mean to say, we have 3 cell phones that we're going to test if it is defective or non-defective. As an illustration, we have here our solution. Let's say we are going to test the first item. The first item can be defective or non-defective. Okay, let us start on the first item that results defective. If the first item is defective, our second item can be a defective or a non-defective cell phone. But if we have a first item non-defective, our second item can be also defective or non-defective. Okay, let us proceed to our third item. In our third item, if the first item is defective, our second item is also defective, our third item can be a defective or non-defective. Okay? If our first item is defective, our second item is non-defective, our third item can be defective or non-defective. Okay? If our first item is non-defective, our second item is defective, our third item can be defective or non-defective also. But if our first item is non-defective, our second item is non-defective, our third item can be defective and non-defective also. So in this case, we have here the result of our tree diagram. We have here our sample points. We have 8 outcomes. And that 8 outcomes are DDD, DDN, DND, DND, or DNN, NDD, NDN, NND, and NNN. Okay, so that is our solution in getting a sample space or a number of outcomes by the use of tree diagram. Okay, we are done in sample space. let us proceed to the another requirements or another part of probability, which is the events. When we say events, it is the collection of one or more outcomes of an experiment. And also, event is a subset of sample space. So meaning to say, event is a portion of a sample space which is passed on the requirement of a problem. So mean to say, we are not considering all elements or all possible outcomes, but then we are pertaining only doon sa part ng sample space na pumapasok doon sa hinihingi sa problem. And for you to understand it, let me give you an example. In tossing a coin twice, the event of getting exactly one tail. So, ang hinihingi lamang sa problem is just simply exactly one tail in tossing a coin twice. Based on our discussion earlier, in tossing a coin twice, we have four outcomes that are head, head, tail, tail, head, tail, and tail, head. But then, out of these four outcomes, we only have two outcome or two elements na merong exactly one tail, and that are head, tail, and tail, head. Okay, let us proceed to another example. We have here the event of getting at least two defectives in three cell phones. Based on our solution previously, we have eight outcomes, and that are DDD, DDN, TND, NDD, DNN, NDN, NND, and NNN. But then in this problem, we are looking for an element which has at least two defectives. So, based on our eight outcomes, we have only four. We have only four outcomes with at least two defectives, and that are DDD, DDN, DND, and NDD. So, meaning to say, the event of having at least two defectives are only four elements. Okay, we are done in getting the sample space and the number of events. So by that, it is easy for us to be able to get its probability. So in terms of probability, we have two types. First one is the classical probability rule, and the second one is the relative frequency. But then relative frequency cannot consider as probability, but it is an approximate probability. And that is the reason why we are using classical probability rule. And then classical probability rule is applied to compute the probability of event for an experiment, all of whose outcomes are equally likely. So, ibig sabihin, every element in a sample space has an equal percentage or equal probability. And the probability of an event is equal to the number of outcomes occurring in an event divided by the total number of outcomes for the experiment. So mean to say, for us to be able to get the probability of an event, that is just simply number of events divided by the number of sample space. And for you to understand this classical probability, let me give you an illustration or an example in getting the probability of an event. So we have here the probability of an event of getting an odd number in a single toss of a fair die. So we have a single fair die in which it has six faces, which are composed of 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, and 6 points. So meaning to say, in a fair die, it is composed of six elements as a sample space. And these six elements is composed of odd numbers and even numbers. But then the requirements in the problem is just simply the probability of an event of getting an odd numbers. So mean to say, we need to get the number of events. So the number of events is just simply number 1, 3, and 5 because 2, 4, and 6 are all even numbers. So since that we already know the sample space and number of events, we can actually solve for its probability by the use of our formula, number of events divided by number of sample space. So we have here the solution. The number of events are 3. So that are 1, 3, and 5, which is divided into a number of sample space, which is 6. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So since that 3 over 6 are common sa 3, we're going to simplify that into 1 over 2, or just simply 0.50. Another example is the probability of an event of getting at least one head appears in two tosses of fair coin. So based on our discussion previously, that if we toss a coin twice, we have four elements, and that are head, head, tail, 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 head, and head, tail. Now, based on the requirements in the problem, we need to get at least one head appears in two tosses of a fair coin. So, meaning to say the word is at least. Pwedeng isang head or pwedeng dalawang head in a sample space. So, meaning to say, kailangan natin alamin ano ba yung ating number of events. So, based on the result, we have here the three elements out of 4 sample space. So we have here head, 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 tail, and tail, head, because these three elements has at least one head in two tosses of a fair coin. So since that we already know the value of our sample space and events, then we can get the probability of an event. So here is the solution. Number of events is 3, and number of sample space is 4. So we have a probability of an event which is equal to 0.75. Another example is the probability of an event of getting an ace, 5 of hearts, or 3 of spades. Now, in a deck of cards, we have 52 cards. And that 52 cards is our sample space. Why 52? Because in a deck of cards, it is composed of 4 figures that are diamonds, hearts, spades, and flowers. For every figure, it has 13 cards. That is from ace to king. So I mean to say, 13 multiplied by 4, we have 52 cards in a deck. But then since that we are identifying the probability of an events, we need to identify how many events we have in this problem. So we have here 4 kinds of aces. So that are ace of diamonds, ace of hearts, ace of spades, and ace of flower. So, meaning to say, in the requirements of ace, meron na agad tayong apat na elements. But then, sabi sa problem, meron daw tayong isasama na 5 of hearts. So, sabihin 5 na. Another, we have 3 of spades. Ibig sabihin, our number of events are equal to 6. So that is 4 aces, 1 5 of hearts, and 1 3 of spades. Now, since that we already know the value of our sample space and the number of events, we can solve for the probability of an events. So that is just simply 6 over 52, or equal to 3 over 26, which is equal to 0.115. Another example given is the probability of an event of getting the sum of 7 appears in a single toss of a pair of fair dice. So based on our discussion previously, in getting the sample space of tossing a dice twice, we have 36 outcomes. And that 36 outcomes is composed of these numbers. So from 1, 1, 1, 2 hanggang 6, 6. But then the question in the problem is getting the sum of 7 appears. Now, out of these 36 pairs of numbers, ilan dyan yung pag pinag-plus natin is mag-i-equal sa 7? So obviously, 1 and 1 is not part of that because that is 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. And also, hindi rin kasama ang 1 and 2 because if we add that numbers, that is equal to 3. So meaning to say, in this given sample space, alin kaya dyan yung magiging events natin na kung saan meron siyang total of 7 if we get its sum. So that are 1 and 6, 6 and 1, 2 and 5, 5 and 2, 3 and 4, and 4 and 3. Because this 6 pairs of number is equal to 7 if we add that two numbers. Okay, so since that we already know the sample space and then the number of events, then we can solve for the probability of an event. So that is 6 divided by 36 is equal to 1 over 6 or just simply 0.167. Another example, we have in a deck of 52 cards, what is the probability of getting letter A heart, and letter B, an ace, and letter C, a red card? Okay, let us focus first on letter A. So based on the statement, we have a sample space which is equivalent to 52 cards. And sabi sa letter A is a heart. So ang kailangan natin ma-select daw is heart. So in a deck of cards, we have 13 heart cards. That is from ace of heart to king of hearts. Okay, so since the given ng sample space and number of events, we can solve for its probability. We have 13 over 52 or equal to 1/4 or equal to 0.25. Okay, let us proceed to letter B. So we have the same number of sample space, which is 52 cards. But then our number of events is an ace. In a deck of cards, it has 4 ace that are ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, ace of spades, and ace of flowers. Okay? Now, let us get the probability of an event. So, number of event is 4, and then the number of sample space is 52. So, therefore, it is equivalent to 1 over 13 or 0.0769. Okay, let us proceed to letter C. A red card. So a number of sample space is the same, which is 52 cards. But then in a number of events, since na ang hinahanap is a red card, sa isang deck of cards, we have two colors. We have red and black. Diamonds and hearts are both red cards, and spades and flower are both black cards. So, ibig sabihin, ang magiging focus ng ating probability is diamonds and hearts since na yung dalawang figure na yun is color red. So, ibig sabihin, ang ating magiging number of events is equal to 26 red cards. That is from ace to king of hearts and ace to king of diamonds because that figures are both red. Okay? Now, solution for the probability of an events, we have number of events is 26 and number of sample space is 52. So it is equivalent to 1 over 2 or equal to 0.50. Okay, let us proceed to the next example. What is the probability of winning in a 642 Lotto for one share of ticket? Based on the problem, it is obvious that the number of event is 1 because according to the statement, we're going to use one share of ticket. The problem here is what is the value of our sample space? We all know that in a lotto, we need a 6-number combination for us to be able to complete the requirement of one share of ticket. But then, we have 42 numbers. How many number of combinations can we get with 6 numbers? So in this case, gagamitan natin siya ng concept ng combination. para malaman natin kung ilan yung mabubuo natin na tiga-anim at magse-serve as our sample space. Pero bakit combination ang ating kailangan gamitin? Kasi sa combination, hindi importante kung ano yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng numbers. Ang importante sa combination, naroon yung number na gusto mong i-select at naroon din yung number na mananalo do sa loto, kahit anuman yung kanyang pagkakasunod-sunod. Unlike permutation, na importante ang mga elements. Kung ano yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng number na i-select mo, dapat ganun din yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng number na mag-a-appear do sa mismong draw. Pero hindi naman ganun yung concept kasi ng loto. Ang concept ng loto, once na napili mo yung number na lumabas sa draw, possible na manalo ka. So, kaya ang gagamitin natin sa solution ito is yung combination. Kasi nga, hindi importante ang pagkakasunod-sunod ng number para manalo ka sa loto. So, in this case, we have here the concept of combination. We have 42C6. So, the concept of combination, we have 42C6 is equal to 42 factorial divided by 6 factorial multiplied by 42 minus 6 factorial. So for the numerator, we have 42 times 41 times 40 times 39 times 38 times 37 times 36 factorial. So nag-stop ako sa 36 factorial kasi there is a possibility na meron siyang katulad na value sa denominator. So in our denominator, so 6 factorial is equivalent to 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then 42 minus 6 is equal to 36 factorial. So ang common sa numerator and denominator is 36 factorial. So cancel out 36 factorial. Kaya matitira na lang nating value sa numerator is 42 hanggang 37. We're going to get its product. So the value is 3,776,965,920 divided by 720 with a value 5,245,786 ways. So this value, 5,245,786 ways, will become our sample space. So since na-kompleto na, meron tayong number of event, meron na rin tayong sample space, we can solve for the probability of an event. We have number of event is 1 divided by number of sample space is 5,245,786 with a total of with the answer 0.0000001963. So if you will notice in our answer, napakaliit ng value kasi napakaraming number ang pwede mong pagpilian, which is kailangan mo lamang ng 6 out of 42 numbers. Kaya lumiliit yung chances mo na manalo sa loto. At yun din yung reason kung bakit hindi magandang tumaya sa loto kasi napakaliit ng chance mo na manalo. Kaya kinukonsider siya as sugal. Kasi nga, maliit yung chances mo na makuha yung jackpot ng loto. Okay, so we are done in getting the probability of an event. Now, let us proceed to the next part, which is the probability or the properties of the probability. So actually, we have 4 properties. So the first property is the probability of sample space is equal to 1. And then, the probabilities of null set is 0. And number 3, the probabilities of an event always lie in the range between 0 to 1. And number 4, the sum of the probabilities of all events or final outcomes for an experiment denoted by summation of probability of an event is always equal to 1. That is, a summation of probability of an event is equal to the probability of event 1 plus the probability of event 2 plus the probability of event 3 up to the probability of event sub n must be equal to 1. Ibig sabihin, once na meron tayong sinolve na problem at inalam natin yung probability nung lahat ng sample space or lahat ng elements sa sample space, kailangan maging equal siya sa 1. Kung hindi siya magiging equal sa 1, ibig sabihin, part of the probability of an event is merong mali. Okay? So, in this case, our property number 4 is the most important among 4 properties because yun po yung pinakang concept natin ngayon or yun ang pinakang focus natin ngayon dito. Yung makuha natin yung pinakang summation na dapat ay magiging equal siya sa 1. And for you to be able to understand the concept of these properties, let me give you an example to illustrate the importance of these 4. So we have here, to illustrate the last property, consider the experiment of tossing a coin twice. Define the following events. So we have A, getting a 0 head, B, getting a 1 head, and letter C, getting 2 heads. Okay, so based on our discussion earlier that the number of sample space in tossing a coin twice, we have 4 sample space or 4 elements in a sample space that are head, head, tail, tail, head, tail, and tail, head. So let us focus our discussion by solving letter A, getting 0 head in tossing a coin twice. Getting 0 head in tossing a coin twice, we have 4 sample space. But then out of 4 sample space, isa lamang ang element na walang head, which is tail, tail. So our event or number of event is only 1. So therefore, in getting the probability of event of getting 0 head, we have number of event is 1 and number of sample space is 4. So therefore, we have 0.25 value in getting 0 head. Okay, and for letter B, getting 1 head in tossing a coin twice. So the same thing, we have 4 elements in a sample space, but what we need is an element with 1 head. But out of 4 elements of a sample space, ilan ba dyan sa 4 na yan ang meron lamang isa na head? So, we have 2. That is head, tail, and tail, head. So, ibig sabihin, ang ating number of events is equal to 2 with the sample space is equal to 4. So, therefore, the probability of event 2 is equal to 2 over 4 or equal to 1/2, which is equivalent to 0.50. And for letter C, we have getting 2 heads. Okay, in this situation, out of 4 element in a sample space, isa lamang yung merong eksaktong 2 heads in tossing a coin twice. So we have head, head. So ibig sabihin, the number of events 3 is only 1. So the probability of an event is equal to 1 over 4, which is equivalent to 0.25. We already get the value of letter A, letter B, and letter C. And for us to be able to check if our answers are all correct, let us apply the concept of property number 4 by getting its sum. So we have, as a recall, our answer for letter A is 1/4 or 0.25. For letter B, we have 1/2 or 0.50. And letter C, we have 1/4 or 0.25. So to apply the concept of property number 4, we have summation of probability of an event is equal to probability of event 1 is 1/4 plus the probability of an event 2 is 1/2 plus the probability of an event 3 plus 1/4. So therefore, we have 1/4 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 is equivalent to 1. So therefore, our answer is correct. Okay, let us proceed to the next example. We have all 275 employees of a factory were asked if they are smokers or non-smokers and whether or not they are college graduate. Based on this information, the following two-way classification table was prepared. If one employee is selected at random from this factory, find the probability that this employee is a college graduate, not a college graduate, smoker, or non-smoker. So based on our given table, smokers are 15 college graduate and 50 not a college graduate with a total of 65. And we have non-smoker, 90 college graduate, and we have 120 not a college graduate with a total of 210 non-smokers. Now, in terms of college, we have 15 smoker and 90 non-smoker with a total of 109 college graduate. And for a not a college graduate, we have 50 smoker and 120 non-smoker with a total of 170 not a college graduate with a total number of population which is 275. Okay, let us start on letter A, college graduate. So we have here the given table. So college graduate, it is composed of 15 smokers and 90 non-smoker with a total number of 105 and a total population of 275. So in this case, 105 will serve as a number of events and 275 serve as a number of sample space. So in this case, the probability of an event or probability of college graduate, that is simply 105 divided by 275 with a value 0.382. Okay? And for letter B, which is not a college graduate. So for not a college graduate, we have 50 smoker and 120 non-smoker with a total of 170 and a total population of 275. So in this case, the probability of an event or a probability of not a college graduate, it is equal to 170 divided by 275 with a value 0.618. So let us apply the property number 4. It must be equal to 1. So we have 0.382 plus 0.618 is equal to 1. So mean to say, our answer for letter A and letter B are both correct. Okay, let us proceed to letter C and letter D. So we have letter C is smoker. So in terms of smoker, we have 15 college graduate and 50 not a college graduate with a total of 65 smokers. And a total number of population is 275. So I mean to say, 65 will serve as a number of events and 275 serve as a number of sample space. So in our solution, we have 65 divided by 275. We have a probability of smoker is 0.236. Okay? And let us proceed to letter D, which is non-smoker. For non-smoker, we have 90 college graduate and we have 120 not a college graduate with a total of 210 non-smoker and a total population of 275. So in this case, the probability of non-smoker, we have 210 divided by 275. We have here the answer 0.764. And then apply property number 4. It must have a total of 1.0 if we get the sum. So we have 0.236 plus 0.764 is equal to 1.0. So therefore, our answer for letter C and letter D are correct. Okay, let us proceed to the next example. In a permutation, the word white is selected at random. Find the probability that the permutation is A begins with a consonant, B ends with vowel, and C has the consonants and vowels alternating. Okay, by this time, let us first focus our discussion by solving letter A, which is begins with a consonant. Ibig sabihin ng letter A, ilan daw word ang mabubuo natin kapag pinagpalit-palit natin yung mga letter ng white na kung saan mag-i-start dapat sa consonant letters, which is either W, H, or letter T. Okay? But before identifying the words starting from consonant, let us first identify the total number of arrangement na mabubuo natin kapag pinagpalit-palit natin lahat ng letter without considering kung siya ba ay nag-start sa vowel or nag-start sa consonant. That is our sample space. So since na 5 yung letter, ilan kaya yung word na mabubuo natin or ilan kaya ang arrangement ang magbubuo natin? So since na importante ang elements sa pagpapalit-palit ng letters, we are going to use permutation. Kasi once na pinagpalit natin ang dalawang letter ng position, meaning to say, ibang arrangement na yon. So in that case, ilan daw kaya yung mabubuo nating arrangement? So that is the reason why ginamitan natin siya ng permutation. So that is 5p5. So in this case, 5p5 is equivalent to 5 factorial. And 5 factorial is equivalent to 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 with a total of 120 ways. Ibig sabihin, 120 arrangement pala ang mabubuo natin once na pinagpalit-palit natin ng pwesto yung word na white. But then, out of 120, ang kailangan lang daw natin doon is ilan doon ang nag-start sa consonant letter. It's either nag-start sa W, nag-start sa H, at nag-start sa letter T. Kasi hindi po lahat ng 120 ay nag-start sa consonant. Yung iba dyan nag-start sa vowel. It's either letter I or letter E. So in that case, alamin natin ilan ba yung nag-start sa consonant by solving the number of events. So in solving the number of events, meron tayong tatlong consonant. We have W, H, and T. That is the reason why ang ginawa natin sa solution sa number of events is 3 times 4p4. Bakit po ganyan yung solution? Meron tayong tatlong letter na pwedeng pagpilian as a beginning letter of each arrangement. Now, bakit natin siya i-multiply sa 4p4? Kasi yung 4p4 is the remaining letters once na makapili na tayo ng isang letter from W, H, and T. Okay? So, ilan daw yung ating masosolve? In this case, we have 3 times 4 factorial. Okay? Ulitin ko, kaya ginamit natin is 3 kasi tatlo yung ating consonant letters. W, H, and T. At bakit natin siya i-multiply sa 4p4? Kasi once na makapili tayo ng isang letter doon sa tatlong consonant, yun na po yung gagawa natin ngayon ng permutation. Ibig sabihin, halimbawa, ang naging starting letter natin is W out of W, H, and T. Ibig sabihin, kung ang nauna is W, yung natirang letter na H, I, T, E, yun po yung ating pagpapalit-palitin ng pwesto. Kaya ang ginamit natin is 4p4. Okay? In that case, ginawa natin siyang 3 times 4p4 or just simply 3 times 4 factorial. Okay? Or equivalent to 3 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equivalent to 72 ways. Ibig sabihin, ang mabubuo pala natin na arrangement na nag-i-start sa consonant letters is 72 ways. In this case, maalalaman na natin kung ano ba yung probability of an event begins with a consonant. So that is just simply 72 divided by 120 is equal to 3 over 5. And the 3 over 5 is equivalent to 0.60. Okay? Ulitin ko, kaya po ang ginawa natin solution is 3 times 4p4 kasi tatlong letter yung consonant that are W, H, and T. I-multiply natin siya sa 4P4 kasi once na makapag-select na tayo ng first letter, it's either W, H, or T, ang matitira na lamang na letter is 4. Kaya yung 4 na yun ang irarambol natin ng position para makabuo tayo ng marami pang arrangement. Example, ang una nating napiling consonant letter is letter H. Ibig sabihin, may matitirang 4 na letters. Yun ay yung W, letter I, letter T, at letter E. So, yung 4 na letter na yun, ang pagpapalit-palitin natin ng pwesto hanggang sa makabuo tayo ng napakaraming arrangement out of these 4 letters. Kaya, ang ginawa natin is 3 times 4P4. Okay? Let us proceed to letter B. Sa letter B naman, ang hinahanap natin dito is yung word na nag-end with vowels. So, ibig sabihin, yung kailangan naman natin na letter or word or arrangement na makuha is nag-e-end siya sa vowels. It's either letter I or letter E. Okay? Same as letter A, meron tayong 120 ways or sample space. Pero, in this letter B, kailangan natin kunin yung number of event or yung number of arrangement na nag-e-end sa vowel. It's either I or letter E. In this problem, dalawa yung ating vowels. That is I and E, kaya ang ating solution is 2 times 4P4. Bakit 4P4? Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, kapag nakapag-select tayo ng isang vowel, it's either I or letter E, meron pa tayong 4 na letter na matitira. At yung 4 na letter na matitira, yun yung ating pagpapalit-palit ng pwesto para makakuha tayo ng iba't iba pang arrangement. Okay? So that is the reason why our solution to get the events is 2 times 4P4. So in this case, we have 2 times 4 factorial or simply 2 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 or equal to 48 ways. Ibig sabihin, out of 120 possible outcomes, meron lamang tayong 48 na arrangement na nag-e-end sa vowel. In this case, our solution, our number of event is 48 and number of sample space is 120 or equivalent to 2 over 5 which is equivalent to 0.40. Okay? And let us proceed to our letter C. So letter C has the consonant and vowels alternating. Ibig sabihin, alternating naman. Consonant, vowel, and consonant. Ibig sabihin, palitan ng pwesto. From the word itself, alternating. In this case, we have 2 vowels. That is letter I and letter E. So, solve muna natin yung vowels. That is 2P2. So, therefore, that is 2 factorial or simply 2 times 1 is equal to 2 ways. Ibig sabihin, dalawa lamang yung magpapalit-palit ng pwesto. It's either I or letter E. Pwede yung I is sa pangalawa, pwede ang I is sa pang-apat naman na place. Pwede rin na mangyari, yung letter E is sa pangalawa or pwede rin naman siya sa pang-apat para makabuo tayo ng word na alternating. In next part, meron tayong 3 consonant. Kaya ang gagamitin natin for that event is 3P3. So, pwede magpalit-palit ng pwesto yung W, H, at saka T. Ibig sabihin, pwede yung W is sa first position, pwede siya sa third position, or pwede rin naman siya sa last position. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mag-position ang bawat letter na consonant sa first, sa third, or sa fifth position. Example, letter T, pwede siya sa first position, pwede siya sa third position, and pwede rin siya sa fifth position. So, yun po yung ating tinatawag na alternating. Now, in this case, so we have 3p3. It is equal to 3 factorial, which is equivalent to 3 times 2 times 1, which is equivalent to 6 ways. Ibig sabihin, sa vowel, meron tayong 2 ways, at sa consonant, meron tayong 6 ways. Now, let us get the probability of getting an arrangement in which consonant and vowels are alternating. We have here 2p2 times 3p3 divided by 5p5. That is just simply 2 factorial times 3 factorial divided by 5 factorial. So our numerator 2 factorial is equivalent to 2 times 1 and 3 factorial is equal to 3 factorial divided by 5 factorial or just simply 5 times 4 times 3 factorial. So hindi ko na in-expand yung 3 factorial kasi meron naman siyang same value sa denominator na pwede naman natin siyang i-cancel like this. So ang matitira na lamang sa numerator is 2 times 1 or just simply 2 and then sa denominator is 5 times 4 or equal to 20 which is equivalent to 1 over 10 or simply 0.10. Or pwede rin naman natin siyang isolve like this. We have 2 times 6 divided by 120 which is equivalent to 12 over 120 or simply 1 over 10 or 0.10. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, ang probability of an event of getting arrangement in which consonant and vowels are alternating is 0.10. Okay, that's it. So, let us proceed to your assignment. So, please answer exercises 7.1, which is about probability of an event. Okay, the instruction in solving the problem is just the same instruction in our previous activity. Pasensya na kung medyo marami ang PIYOK, medyo pause na kasi ako habang ginagawa ko itong video na to. But then, please listen to my instruction for you to understand this topic. And then, stay home and then stay safe. Thank you.